Welcome to Assignment 1 of Facilitating Lifelong Learning. I'll start off with introducing myself and giving a bit of a background. My name is Vignesh and I'm currently enrolled in the Graduate Diploma of Education for Tertiary and Workplace Education and am completing my second and final semester. I'm also a registered midwife and am employed full-time. In addition to working my regular clinical hours, in the past year and a half, I have undertaken the role of graduate coach. The graduate coach program is a program designed to help facilitate the transition of graduate midwives into their first year of professional practice in midwifery in a hospital setting. I also regularly undertake antenatal classes and active birth workshops for pregnant women and their partners, and I am part of the organisational committee for an obstetric emergency educational course at work. The roles which I have undertaken in my professional experience as a midwife are largely catered towards professional and personal development for adult learners in varying contexts and capacities. So I educate midwives, pregnant women, families, and healthcare workers that work in the multidisciplinary team in maternity care. As such, the topic of facilitating lifelong learning and adult learning is highly relevant and applicable in my area of work. My beliefs about learning. I strongly believe that learning, and especially adult learning, is largely dependent on and influenced by social and cultural constructs and environmental and emotional factors. It is easily assumed that adult learners are there and engaging themselves in a learning opportunity because they want to, but that is not entirely true. Some adult learners engage in learning opportunities for institutional or organisational requirements. Whether or not it is voluntary or enforced, I strongly believe that learning, and especially adult learning, should be aimed at creating better outcomes for the learner or the community and be the source towards progressing towards an issue or a problem. I've never viewed learning as purely content-based regurgitation, which is interesting because I do come from Singapore and I feel like much of my learning as a child was regurgitation. I think that the viewpoint that learning should be aimed at problem solving stems from my professional practice as a midwife. Any learning undertaken in midwifery is predominantly aimed at creating optimal maternal and neonatal health outcomes for pregnant women and their babies. My beliefs about facilitating learning for adult learners. My first and foremost belief about facilitating learning for adult learners is that the pedagogy and teaching methods should be learner-centered. In the context of midwifery, there are organisational and legislative requirements which state that all student midwives need to achieve certain objectives and goals. But the way in which these learning opportunities are delivered should be varied and be tailored to individualistic learning needs of each adult learner, in my belief. I believe that I have done the same in my practice as well. So getting to know your learners and then delivering the message in a way that reaches each learner individually. I found Raven's action learning theory and Vygotsky's constructivist learning theory to be highly relevant in the context of midwifery practice. Raven's action learning theory places emphasis on being accountable for one's own learning and creating trustworthy relationships amongst learners and teachers, and is focused on continual improvement and progression. This is the core of midwifery practice, and forging respectful and trustworthy relationships amongst the facilitator and the learner and the patients in midwifery is vital towards ensuring that the learner believes that their best interests are considered prior to making any important decisions about pedagogies or teaching styles. This then ensures that the learner feels like a valued member of the team as well. I believe that self-worthiness is an undervalued and underrated factor that influences the learner's success and achievements, but attaining and reiterating the importance of self-worthiness in midwifery has proven to be crucial to its ensuring that safe professional practice is undertaken while rendering midwifery care. Effective facilitation of adult learning is also achieved by creating experiential learning environments for the learners to engage both body, mind, soulfully in the situation. In midwifery, engaging in real-life clinical situations has proven to be extremely beneficial towards facilitating lifelong learning, as it encourages the learner to fill in multiple shoes or roles and reflect upon their professional practice, which brings me to the next point, metacognitive adult learning. Metacognitive learning or reflective practice is something that is so valuable in midwifery because it actually helps with your career progression. The experience itself without reflection is not effective towards learning from one's strengths and limitations. Midwives are always faced with formal and informal debriefs held by their respective professional units to reflect objectively on their actions and tasks, so as to figure out what was done well and what could have been done better in a clinical situation, and make recommendations as to how that situation can be done, could have been done better. Therefore, I hold a huge amount of value towards facilitating adult learning in relation to experiential and metacognitive practice. My learning goals for this topic: I've enrolled in this course independent of work requirements, as I believe that this course will be highly beneficial towards my own professional development as a midwife who undertakes multiple educational roles at work. As such, I'd like to apply the theories learned in this unit, but especially to incorporate the assignments into my professional practice in real life situations, just as I've been able to do with the other units that I've done in this course. I'm hopeful that this unit will allow me to understand my learners better so that I can facilitate the best learning opportunities for them, so that they can apply it in their professional practice. So it's a little bit of a cycle, really, my goals and objectives. I believe that this unit ties in largely with my personal belief of adult learning, which is it is aimed at creating progression in a learning environment or creating solutions for problems. That brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching.